Hello YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. I'm going to make a few different movies today. Today again, it's Monday, September 19th, 2016, about 9:32 p.m. I know I've talked a bit about this subject, and I'm going to put a bit more, we keep putting out new movies here, but I've been talking a bit about nutrition and food and health, that sort of thing. There's still some things that I have yet to mention about health and things, but I thought that there's something that I haven't talked about yet that probably would be helpful for a lot of folks out there. Um, I don't need to tell you guys that this is a very confusing topic to really know what you really ought to be eating still a lot of times, and what is really best for your body and mind and health and well-being, and what is not good. But it can be confusing. But I think if you guys have done looked up folks that are much more ethical, that of course have more knowledge and things, and you eat a lot of plant foods, a wide variety of plant foods, and you drink a lot of water, and you exercise, and you sleep regularly, you'll probably be in good shape overall. Those are the big things to keep in mind. It's important thing is to keep the big things in mind. That you keep the main things that you're doing that are keeping you really healthy. You keep those things going. Um, if someone, for instance, were to go from a mostly plant diet, when they were exercising a lot, drinking a lot of water, if they were to go from that to a microwavable meal every night, drink lots of soda, eat couch potato, and sleep whenever they want to, um, it would definitely, their health would take a nosedive. It'd definitely take a nosedive. So, um, I want to talk again in this video, though, focus on my own life and what some of the ideas that have kind of um, some of the things that I've learned when I was younger and how that has kind of changed over time. Some of the concepts of nutrition, that sort of thing. So, I remember, I still remember the old five food groups. Five, I still remember that when we had grains, fruits, vegetables, dairy, and protein. And I think most of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Even before the food pyramid was really the food pyramid, it was like you had. I just remember seeing it was the old USDA five food groups. I remember learning about this in Cub Scouts, and it was kind of a little bit redundant because I'd already talked about five. I already, probably had the same kind of thing in some class in school or talked about with my parents, and so definitely was a little redundant when I was learning about it in Cub Scouts, but still at the same time, you know, whatever, it's fine. You have health, U.S. history multiple times. You can't do anything about it when you're younger, so okay, whatever. So, um, so I still remember the old five food groups. I remember those old five food groups, and you know, in the 80s, early 80s, I think it was recommended that we have 4 to 5 or so servings of grains per day, 2 to 3 from fruit, and 2 to 3 from veggies. Probably more like 3 from veggies, 2 from fruit, but really, most of us probably had more fruit than veggies. I don't know. Everybody's so different. 2 servings daily, two servings of dairy, sorry, and 2 servings of protein, or so. That was every day. Again, that amount was 4 to 5 servings of grains, 2 to 3 servings of fruits, 2 to 3 servings of veggies, 2 servings of dairy, and 2 servings of protein. And that was the recommended USDA daily allowance order back in the early 80s, and on average. And of course, very little sweets, junk food, hardly any of that stuff, of course. So, of course, you guys probably are more familiar with the food pyramid rather than what happened before the food pyramid. But essentially, the main thing was that they increased the recommended grain intake to about 6 to 11 6 to 11 servings a day for grains. So if you need more carbs, everyone is saying eat more grains at a time. I remember being in cross country and eating a lot of cereal and a lot of potatoes, and a lot of pasta. But I was in very good shape, so I wasn't going to get chubby from that stuff. Which grains can do that to you very easily when you get a certain age, if you're not very active, especially. So, yeah. So then, of course, we had this. We kept getting more and more research and knowledge, and had all these folks. I remember the anti-inflammatory food pyramid that kind of came out in the early 2000s. Dr. Weil's anti-inflammatory food pyramid. And then after that, Dr. Furman's nutritarian food pyramid. So then, of course, there was a lot more emphasis on vegetables, fruit and vegetables, especially vegetables, instead of grains. And drinking a lot of water. Fruit juice was actually not that great for you. It wasn't as great as we thought it was, but it wasn't terrible, but it was really sugary. And unless it's pomegranate juice or vegetable juice, something like that. But who likes vegetable juice? Anybody likes vegetable juice is anyway. I've never liked vegetable juice. So of course we learned about GMOs, we learned about organic food versus not. We learned about grass-fed versus corn-fed. So all this stuff has been more recent, and so it's there. I'm going to try to explain why, especially for a lot of older folks, but I'm trying to explain why it's so hard to listen to new stuff. And I'm going to say a lot of this from my own life, to explain what's hard for me, and then I'm going to try to put myself in your guys' shoes, that have heard even more than I have heard about even things that were recommended back in the 60s or 50s, maybe. So, last thing though, I should mention, so we've had an explosion in knowledge in nutrition. So one of the things, of course, that I'm a little bit amused by sometimes is Michelle Obama's My Plate plan. We don't need the USD. We don't need the USDA anymore, really, if we have doctors that are coming out, doctors that have no agenda but our health. And of course, that's where you can kind of try to say, well, do they really have our best interests at heart? Well, it's like politicians, but I would think it's probably a much better situation than politicians. I think doctors really, I think you can tell if they do have our best interests at heart, and you especially can tell when something is working because it's, going to make people healthier. It's going to be pretty obvious. So, so Michelle Obama, it's nice you made a little plan, but we don't really need it. We have Dr. Furman, we have Dr. Weil, we have other folks too that you're going to, Josh Axe, Dr. Axe. Anyway, we have some other folks that we have all this other information that we can look to. We don't need My Plate. We don't need it. We don't need to consume dairy or meat. If we don't, we probably need some B12, need some beans and stuff, and all that stuff, but we don't need that much grains. We actually probably need to eat a heck of a lot more vegetables and fruit if we want to live really long lives. If we want to, so essentially the really hard things about all the change over time has been one of the things that there are certain things that whenever we like something a lot, the more we like something, the more, if we hear that it's good for us, we'll want to we'll want to latch onto that. We don't want to let go of that. So the first kind of food that we don't want to give it up is definitely fruit juice, for sure. Fruit juice. I mean, Mountain Dew, in fact, has orange juice in it. I don't drink Mountain Dew, but so it's other than fruit juice, it's red meat, right? Red meat. And, also, I remember having big hot breakfasts when I was younger. on occasion, like at friends' houses, but they're sometimes a bit of an indulgence. But grains were big thing in the past, and again, vegetables are now seen as more healthy than grains. To eat more of them, vegetables, and of course dairy. So we mentioned fruit juice and meat and excessive grains, but more refined grains, and dairy, uh, cheese. So, um, and we've heard that these things are healthy for us at some point, and because they're good, because we like them. For myself, I don't like dairy, but so much, but the other stuff, yeah, for sure, especially fruit juice and meat. But whatever you have, whatever foods, those kinds of foods that you like, I know it's been hard, really, really hard. It can be very hard to give up those things or to have much less of them um, because they taste so good. It's like someone comes along and says, "Oh man, go ahead and have more donuts." Actually, I think at this point we know that was probably not true. But if someone were to discover or be able to create a new food, maybe manufactured food that somehow retained more of its original plant nutrients, maybe some kind of I don't know, fruit cocktail or something, but it was healthier. I think we would love it. I mean, we'd love to have anything that's so tasty that we're told is healthy and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, just to wrap this up, this train of thought. So I personally still insist on eating a wide variety of food, but not so much. I don't have dairy or grains as much. Um, but I do definitely eat nuts, and I try to eat some beans here and there. But I still like my favorite things are meat and sometimes fruit juice, but more I think meat and poultry. At some point, I'll need to scale that back. I will. Um, I do have a sweet tooth, so I am aware of that. So I have to watch that. But you know, I guess the last thought is, we trusted the USDA. We trusted. Well, I think then they used to be more ethical, in my opinion. I don't know, but it's without getting too much into conspiracy theories. Yeah, I mean, you guys probably know about. Maybe you know about some of the connections between big pharmacy or big farm and the health profession, doctors, and keeping people on medication because it's more lucrative for everyone. Um, that's a big thing. And I'm not really the one to talk about that subject. That needs to be some other folks. Um, but that plays in here. The USDA. Um, I folks shouldn't be naive. You should realize that yes, the USDA probably had some dealings with ranchers and dairy folks and said, hey, we got protein in this stuff. We don't want to lose to anything that we want to keep making money. Let's keep telling people drink your milk and eat your beef. Because why? Because we can make money. That's our cattle. We don't. This is what we do. And so the USDA said, okay, let's give okay, but we can listen to USDA or we can listen to Dr. Furman. Hey, I think we kind of do a little bit of both because we like our fruit juice, we like our meat. I'll speak for myself. I mean, I know that old habits die hard, especially when you're told that those old, initially those old habits are healthy. Probably some people hardest habits to kill. Maybe they won't be meat or fruit juice. Maybe they'll be dairy or grains. But I just know that we're not talking about eating candy, but we are talking about who do you trust? Who do you trust when it comes to health? Well, you should trust folks that live what they say they live, and who have researched the subject quite a bit, but also their patients go from somewhat unhealthy to very healthy. Not necessarily in a short period of time, but they get healthier if they do what their doctor wants you. Those folks you should trust because they're the real folks, they're the real deal. Um, I think, and again, so as I'm saying, a lot of times, in many respects, some things can actually be remedied by sleep, exercise, or sleep. Let's say sleep and a proper diet sometimes. Exercise when they're a bit healthier, but yeah, those three things, especially regular sleep and nutrition. I mean, like so many things can be remedied by those things, and then just add in a little bit extra herbal tea or some certain dark leafy greens, a little bit more vitamin C, maybe a little bit, or vitamin K or something. You know, um, but you don't always need medication. Um, but that's another subject. Um, anyway, all right. I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully, this, like say, I realize um, how much you guys struggle with this subject, and I just want you to know, I remember those old things that were told to us by the government, and I feel like we were kind of guinea pigs a little bit, and so I want you guys to be, I want us all to be a little less naive and a little bit more shrewd about what we're being told is true or not. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.